Tariffs. I'm joined live from Washington, D.C. by Dr. Mukesh Aghi. He's the President and Chief Executive at the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum. Worked very closely on trying to bring the Modi-Trump bilateral agenda together. Dr. Aghi, thank you for taking our time and joining us. You were with us, and you're in fact amongst the first people who said that reciprocal tariffs will target all nations. India is not going to get any kind of an exemption. It went exactly as per the script you laid out on the news track last evening. Now, he's announced these tariffs. He's also said this will happen on the 2nd of April. That creates this window between Valentine's Day and the start of a new financial year. Is there enough love in the India-America relationship to be able to come to a bilateral trade agreement in this short period?
Rahul, thank you. One is the meeting which took place between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump was much broader. I know we focus on tariff. We focus a lot on energy security. We focus a lot on technology innovation. We focus a lot on basically defense aspect and also trade and investment. But more important, you have to understand that Trump sees nations on the trade deficit and trade surplus. India does have a trade surplus of around $45 billion, as you mentioned. And I think that can be addressed very, very quickly by shifting India's procurement of energy to the United States. And I believe that within 12 months, that deficit will go away. Now, in regards to tariff, it is important to understand, yes, India does have a higher tariffs, but they also announced a focus of trying to take in the trade between the two countries to $500 billion. They also announced a more of a bilateral trade agreement. Reduce the tariff, bring in more movement of goods itself. So I believe that, I think, yes, tariff is an issue, but it is not a game stopper. It is more important to understand is we need to get focused on getting by fall, when President Trump comes to India, some kind of a trade agreement, and we can pick it up from the one which we had defined in the first Trump 1.0 mini trade deal. Just expand on that. And so we have enough time to take that forward. Now, in regards to his directive yesterday, as far as the tariff, reciprocal tariff, is more of a study being done, and it will get implemented. But I think it also gives leeway to him to delay that if we can focus on getting the trade agreement signed between the two countries.
Okay, you saw the Biden-Modi visit. You saw now the Trump-Modi visit the first time round and the second time round. How do you compare these bilateral visits? I mean, of course, the Biden visit was a state visit, much more pomp and show, a state dinner, the big party out in the White House lawns. All of that was missing. This was a working visit, and the fact that Trump chose to do the press conference hours before the Prime Minister came, was that really a negotiating tactic by President Trump to put pressure on the Indian side?
Well, you have to understand, for Trump, tariff threat is a negotiating ploy. And we've seen that happening with Canada, with Mexico, and other countries. Yes, I think this was announced almost a week ago that I will focus on reciprocal. And by design or by coincidence, he basically signed the directive, not an executive order, but a directive to go study how each country is imposing tariff on the US and how we reciprocate. But to answer your bigger question, I think when you compare the Biden state visit and the Trump visit, there were more substance in this visit. There were much more business-focused aspect of the relationship. They said, we will take our trade to $500 billion by 2030. We will go look for signing a bilateral trade agreement by fall of this year. So there were milestones and timelines set up in every category, from research to defense to procurement to scientific partnership. So I think this had much more substance. And I calculated roughly 70, 80 different potential agreements will be signed between now and the fall. So you will see the momentum picking up between the two countries, both from a geopolitical perspective, from a defense perspective, from a scientific research perspective. And I've talked to US companies and the CEOs. They're very excited that India will now have a more market access for US companies and also a level playing field. So I think it's a win-win value proposition. Yes, we will have some speed bumps, but there is enough strong relationship between the two leaders that they can overcome those speed bumps.
Dr. Mukesh Aghi, for joining us from DC, thank you very much.